Hey everybody, thanks for checking out my latest video. Appreciate the subscribes and likes and comments on my videos, and if you have any feedback or any players you want to suggest type of thing, I appreciate it. So I'm going to talk about 4 purchases I made of bargain players on Sorare Football in recent days. That's their global soccer competition, where you can win good prizes. Cards are worth a lot. You can flip cards. You can play leagues all year long. SoRare also has an NBA license for a game that's similar, and you can see what the cards go for a lot. Also have a Major League Baseball one, which will be starting up here again and soon in America. They may have PGA Golf coming as well. So some of you may have come from DraftKings Rainmakers, which has the NFL one, which I did very well in DFS this year on DraftKings. I won one big tournament, biggest one I've ever won. And I've been doing their UFC as well, but getting back into the football one, I'm a pretty big fan of, European soccer, football as a whole. So use my referral code if you sign up, sorare.com/r Chelsea USA, and I'll post that in the comments. And if you do sign up, and you get free cards for all the games, which you can enter contests with. But then if you end up getting the paid cards to enter the better contest, you will get an extra free card, and I will get a free card if you meet the terms of it. So it benefits both of us. So use my referral code if you're signing up. So I had some holes to fill in because I had, unfortunately, some DNPs in the first week of the 270 caps in the big 5 leagues, in the European leagues, and also, and then I had I want to fill in a 220 player as well. So I was just looking for some really cheap players to fill in based on what my ETH balance was in my account at the time. I do want to flip some more cards, by the way. I need to pay better attention to that because I know in the past there were ones I had it, I bought at 10 euros, $10. I went to 100 and I didn't flip them. But nonetheless, I did flip quite a few in the past. So I ended up buying 4 cards in the last couple of days. 3 of them are defender cards. One's a forward card. Let's go over them real quick. Nicholas Stark in the Bundesliga. This card says Hertha Berlin, but he actually plays for Werder Bremen. I bought the 21-22. Sometimes I get either one. I paid 4 for it. You can see that this card, 5. You can see that this card was $30, 15 to 30 euros, and even like double, in ETH, even with ETH being where it was. So, this player was worth a lot more at the time. So he plays on Werder Bremen, who is doing fine in the excuse me one second. Just want to bring up the tables. Okay. So Werder Bremen is in 8th place. They don't look like they'll have a European contention, but if you look at his, if you go in the 6 month, that's basically covers this season currently in the European leagues. Had some nice performances recently. Hasn't had a big pop game, but has some good 50s and 60s. Good all around scores there in the last 3 games in particular, and going back a bit. As I mentioned, his prices were a lot higher at one time. I don't have access to the full, but just over the last month, it actually did spike from 2 to 650 currently. I paid 0.003, around 5. It's now around, according to this, 0.004 floor. I generally would like to flip if it gets maybe a double, depending on the price I paid. Possibly more, would need more, just depending. So Nicholas Stark was a highly valued player at one time. He was a $20 million player in 2019 and got a couple Germany caps. He went on a free to Werder Bremen this past year from Hertha, who's probably going to be relegated. And he's been starting lately, getting the full 90 minutes most of the time, but not a big goal assist type of player. Although he is tall. You think he actually should get some header goals. I guess he doesn't head the ball very well. But so no goals and assists on the season. On the SofaScore, which is another site that you can use to research players, Just interesting to look at. So he plays basically center back, right back, and they have his defense is high and his tactical is high. Both those are very high. They say his strength is ground duels. But for 6'3", you think he might get a header goal here and then, but maybe he doesn't go forward. Or, a lot of players in the German league are tall. Just real quick on his team, though, according to the SofaScore rating, for what that's worth, they have him as like the 5th highest rated player performance-wise on his team. So that was a $4 one, basically. I paid $5 for it. I'm sorry. Currently around 6.5. It looks like, depending on the ETH and where things are at currently. So the next one, that was a Bundesliga defender. The next one I got is a Serie A. La Liga. Joseph Adu, and he's on Celta Vigo. His cards, you can see back here, were higher at one time. I don't have the full history. I could research it, but many of these cards were a lot more. This one, again, I bought the cheaper one, which was the 21-22. And so he is 27 years. Let me see how old Stark's 27. So Adu is 27 also. We're 7 million. He's been there a while. Celta bought him for 8 million. Vigo back in 2019. He's been starting 100% of the games. Scored a couple goals, both headers. He also plays for Ghana national team. So you can see he's a mainstay. On SofaScore, they have his strength as ground duels, weakness, error proneness. Again, center right positioning, but like I said, he does have the 2-headed goals. So that gave him a big pop on his here. He had a 97 game. Then he gets a lot of 60s, and he gets a lot of all-around points. And Celta Vigo is in La Liga. They are basically mid-table, but they're not that far from. They're 12th, but they're in one of those spots where they're like mid, but they could fall to relegation. They got to be careful of that. And on Celta Vigo, he's rated as his rating so far this season is the 4th best player, which is pretty impressive as well. So on that one, again, I paid. Let's see. Paid 0.0034, 5.5, and it's currently 0.0033, 501. Next one I bought is a Serie A player from Lazio, Elcid Hizaj. Some of you may know him, a little more well known. His cards went for a lot. I in the past, $30, $50 type thing, possibly more. Again, here I bought the 21-22 because it was cheaper, but it still has some experience on it. So he's 29, although he just turned 29. He hasn't been starting all the games, but he has lately and put up some good numbers for Lazio, which is one of the best teams who is on a 5-game unbeaten streak. And he could put in some higher numbers for a low-priced card. Again, currently it's 0.0033, 501. I paid 0.0026, 426. You can see just over the last month, $2 up to about 7.8, back down to 4.5. Let me look at the Adu. So he's ranged between 4 and 7 all month, and the Nicholas Stark rose from 2 to 7.8, and he's 6 now. Oh, and as far as lineup projections, they have Nicholas Stark 100%. The predictors on SorareData for the next game. Adu, they also have him at 100%. Atletico Madrid, tough matchup. Borussia Dortmund, tough matchup, but not really concerned just about this week. So Hizaj, 6 months. Some really good all-around totals in there. he was another very highly valued player at one time. He was valued at 25 million. A few years ago, he's a mainstay for the Albanian national team. He has 1 assist this season. Hasn't started a ton of games, but it looks like he is now for them. For Lazio, who's a really good team. You can see last 4 games he's basically started and played most all the minutes, and even there he did as well. And Lazio acquired him. Let me just see real quick. He went on a free from Napoli in 2021. So on SofaScore, you can see he's more of a traditional wingback, fullback. Not super high attribute overview. That may be relative to the Serie A. No, they don't have him with outstanding strengths or weaknesses. They don't have him particularly highly rated on Lazio on this for performance for the season. But Lazio is a very good team. They have him down here at 13th. And as far as starting, they have Atalanta, and they have him at currently 73% of the predictors have him starting. But again, cheap card of a quality international player on a very good team. Now Lazio, I believe, did get knocked out of the Europa League in the group stage. It looked like a crazy result from what I saw. They tied with Feyenoord, Midland, and Sturm, all at 8 points, and I believe they're out on goal differential, which is disappointing to them. Their group is a little tougher than the other ones, but they should have advanced. So there won't be any more European competition coming up for them. And the final one, I was looking for a cheap forward for my 220 cap team, and I didn't have much in my account at that point, or I just didn't want to spend much. But I ended up getting this Ragnar Mangoen, who's a Dutch national, but I believe is Indonesian origin, Netherlands. And this is only a 0.0019 $3 card, but he is listed as a forward on this 22-23 card, even though he really plays midfield. But if you need, sometimes forwards and midfielders and goalies, but they can be, harder to fill. Now he's not an explosive scorer. He's more of a steady point bringer. He's really, more of a central midfielder. It looks like he's playing for them. But you can see he took off the last game. But he generally was playing them all and putting up pretty good all-around scores. Now, Groningen is his team, okay? Just real quick. I want to go over this team really fast because I was studying them, and it might... So anyway, his card was 4-12, and it plummeted back down to below 4. It's below 3 now. So a good price. He's 25 years old. So let's see. So currently they have PSV, which is a really tough matchup in their league. And currently on here, 61% have him starting this next game. I just want to go over Groningen real quick. I'm sorry, let me go over Ragnar. So they have him valued at 500,000. Hasn't had any national call-ups. I wonder if Indonesia may have reached out to him, but you can see he's been rising. He joined them this past summer from Go Ahead Eagles, who actually is also in the Eredivisie. Only 1 assist. But you can see here he was playing 90 minutes every game, and he took off the last game. But a very cheap card. Now, Groningen is a team I just wanted to go over real quick. Oh, I'm sorry, let me go over his SofaScore as well. The creative attack, technical, no outstanding strengths or weaknesses. He generally plays, looks like central midfield to left wing, sort of, in this team currently. Not one of the highest scored players for them on SofaScore. He's down here at 17th. But some of these players are not even on the team anymore. Now, Groningen is an interesting one, which I think you might want to research for possible bargains coming up. Now, here's the thing. They're the next to bottom of the Eredivisie. And they're sitting on 13 points and -20. Currently, like 17 points is the safety spot. So they're in a relegation battle. They're not looking great right now. They do have the Eindhoven next game, and they do have a Ajax and a Feyenoord, but overall, I wouldn't say that looks particularly tough. The thing with Groningen is they've been in the Eredivisie for 23 seasons. So for them to go down would be calamitous. And I would tend to think a team like this has enough of a winning culture that they can overcome this and stay up. They are in one of their, like seventh, I think, an average attendance or something like sixth, seventh, eighth in the value of their team. So that they should be an upper mid-table Eredivisie team. But you can see they haven't been down in the second tier since 2000. And even then, they were only 2 seasons. They are one of the mainstays. So this is one where you could maybe gamble on if the team's going to stay up, that their cards will bounce back, because the Dutch Division 2 is not in Sorare as far as I know. But the Eredivisie obviously is. But I was delving into this team a little more in depth, and so they brought in a new coach over the summer, and he's already either fired or stepped down, and they have another one, and it doesn't seem to be helping. But the thing about that, they have Ricardo Pepi they brought in, so you can see their results here. I mean, they're on a horrific run. But there's still time for them to pull it out. You can see how many games they have left. They have Eindhoven, Feyenoord, and then they have Ajax down here. I'm not Sparta. These last few might be crucial, but doesn't look like a super tough run. They just need to turn it around. The thing with this team is, and some of you may know this team better than I do, but they tend to make a profit on their arrivals, departures. At least according to TransferMarkt, they tend to make $1 or $2 million a year that they sell more than they bring in. At least according to the data on there. There was one season where they brought in about 15 million more, and that's what they did in 2023. So 2022-23. So this is probably the problem, and I believe the transfer window is closed in the Eredivisie, so you might want to check on that. And I'm just looking in from the outside, okay? But so they sold their best striker to Celta Vigo, Joran Larsson, and this is a club that will sell for profits. If you go back to the summer transfers, they made 15 million on their income versus expenditures. So they sold him. They sold a left back to Club Brugge for 6 million, and I believe one of these other guys was a good striker for them. And then they brought in some players. The key one they brought in was Ricardo Pepi, who's on a loan, who's a very highly touted American player who's been banging in the goals for them. But the team is not doing well. I'm not 100% sure what it is. Their defensive record is bad. They let up 41 goals. And I think, bringing in defense, shoring that up would have been a good way to maybe eke up the table. Their goal differential in general is bad, but they didn't, but I know they have a good striker on the team. And so what did they do in the winter transfer? Assuming it's over, they let another guy go. They let 5 more guys go. Generally to bigger clubs. They brought in these people. Now, I'm not sure how good they are or how much difference they'll make. He's an experienced player, and he came in from Brentford. But that's the question: is if you can decide that they're going to survive in the Eredivisie, I think their cards are probably a good bargain right now. Again, they're 23 years, basically look like about 38 out of 40 years they've been in the Eredivisie. Now, of course, Everton is relegation risk in the EPL, so it can happen. But going over their team, this dude they just brought in from Brentford is hurt. I'm not sure for how long. Ricardo Pepi's the only, the most valuable player. This Suslo, 3 million. And then the player they brought in from Brentford, I need to maybe check how long he's injured for. But they need to do something, and hopefully they are. Maybe their winning culture will pull them through. You can see down here, Pepe's got 8 goals. His card, Let me just look him up really fast. His card is not that outrageous. And he's on loan. He's $56, but he's 20 years old. And he's highly touted American striker. I think he got a little time in the World Cup, but didn't do much. But you can see those numbers there recently. No, they don't show him getting any time in the World Cup. Thought he did. So anyway, I think that might be a player you might want to consider if you're looking for a quality one. Let me just pull him back up again really quick. If you're looking for a U23, because he came on loan from Augsburg in Germany and in the Bundesliga. And let me just look at their position. They're sitting at 13th, a bit above the relegation zone, a decent amount above. So they might be, bringing it back up. His market value is 10 million, 9 million. And again, a young player. He's banging in goals there in the Eredivisie, even for a team that's not putting up a lot of goals. Anyway, so that's just a thing about Groningen. I was studying them, and I think they're going to stay up. But the transfers, they probably should have spent some money in the winter break, and not, the board has to be, the fans and the board have to probably be freaking out on that team. All right, so that's it. So I picked up Stark in the Bundesliga, Adu in La Liga, Santander, Hysaj in Serie A, all defenders, and then Ragnar Oretmangoen, who's listed as a forward on Groningen for very cheap. All right, that's it. Again, thank you for subscribing and liking. It allows my content to be seen by more people. And if you do sign up for SoRare, I want to sign up fresh for the contest and the card collecting and flipping cards. It's fun, and you can make money on it. There's people who've made quite a bit, flipping cards particularly. Please use my referral code to sign up, and you will get something free when you a free card when you qualify for a certain threshold. And that's it. Again, thanks for commenting, liking, and subscribing, and have a good one, and good luck to everybody on the upcoming games.